Or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Full-time MMA? Nothing else?
My life, man, yeah.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full-time
MMA.
The Lil Heathen Jeremy Stephens is accusing T-City Brian Ortega of ducking his motherfucking taco. This is what Jeremy Stephens had to say, and this is interesting. I mean, we all know about the most recent incident where Brian Ortega turned down the Jeremy Stephens fight whenever Max Holloway was injured at UFC 226. One of the guys that offered to step up was Jeremy Stephens, but Brian Ortega elected to sit out and wait on Max Holloway. He wasn't very interested in an interim title fight, and with the way interim title fights have been going recently, can't really blame him on that aspect. But Jeremy Stephens is bringing up something we didn't know, details we didn't know. And this is what he had to say. It's really not my concern what the guy does. I stepped up and he stepped back. It is what it is. What can I do about it? I don't want to sit here and talk about the guy. I really don't know him personally. I am willing to fight, and all I know is that this is the third time that my name has been in his ear. He has seen me fight a lot in the front row. He's seen me knock a motherfucker out. I mean, you tell me. Those are the facts, bro. Deny all you want. He stepped back and I stepped up. Jeremy Stephens makes a fucking great point, and just listening to him say that makes me even more of a fan. I can't wait to see Jeremy Stephens' next fight. With that being said, I can't wait to see him fight for that UFC featherweight title. Hopefully that comes in the future. Now, as of right now, he's going to have to get past Jose Aldo and probably wait on whatever's going on with Max Holloway and Brian Ortega, because Brian Ortega wasn't willing to take that short notice fight with him at UFC 226. And real quick, full-time family, before you forget, make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying this video, and also if you're new, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to see more videos like this, just check out the video description, the Full-Time MMA Dojo over here at patreon.com/fulltimemma, and you can see a lot of other cool things, including the goals of this channel, which is something new, so make sure you go check that out. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of the video. Now, with that being said, recently Brian Ortega has came out and said, hey, if you guys strip Max Holloway, I'll fight anybody. I'll fight Jeremy Stephens at UFC 227 or Frankie Edgar. Anybody that you guys are saying was willing to step up and fight me, I'll fight him if you guys strip Max Holloway. Now, with that being said, a lot of people don't feel like Max Holloway should be stripped yet. He's a champion that went the long way, deserves his title. He went on a 10-fight winning streak, won the interim belt, won the undisputed belt, defended the undisputed belt, and as of late, he's been going through a rash of injuries. But with that being said, it still hasn't been a long enough time for him to be stripped, some fans feel. Now, we still have to wait on Max Holloway's health update because he was going through some concussion-like symptoms, maybe a little bit of water poisoning, it seems like it might be, that made him withdraw from UFC 226. But also, Max Holloway was forced out of UFC 222 with an ankle injury. So, unfortunately, we could be looking at a Dominic Cruz-like situation here. If Max Holloway can't get healthy in time for his next fight, or anytime soon, then maybe he will have to be stripped. And that's not the worst case. That's not the worst thing in the world. It would suck if Max Holloway was stripped, but once he got healthy, he could just come back and fight for his title. I don't think the UFC would make him wait. I don't think the fans would make him wait. The fans, of course, would want to see Max come back and win his belt if that's what had to happen. But he's got to take his health serious. This is his career, but your health is a lot more serious than your career. You know what I'm saying? You got some stuff going on that is unfamiliar, like these concussion-like symptoms and water poisoning, and you got to be out for some months. You know, sit your ass on out. Don't try and rush back just because you don't want to be stripped. And, you know, because I don't think Max Holloway is going to get that Conor McGregor leeway. Now, with that being said, if worst case scenario, if Max Holloway was out for a while and the UFC had to strip him, then we would be looking at this potential fight, Jeremy Stephens versus Brian Ortega. But we got to see what's going to happen with that. I haven't heard any word that the UFC is looking to strip Max Holloway, except for Brian Ortega asked them to. You know, he said he would fight anybody if they did. But other than that, it looks like Brian Ortega might be just waiting the entire time. And I don't know if I can't really rock with that, because that's not how he got his title shot. And I know it's a different situation because it's Frankie Edgar, but literally, Frankie Edgar risked it. He stayed on the card when Max Holloway was injured. That's how Brian Ortega got his opportunity. Now, I understand this is a business and you're trying to make the best business decision. You want to fight for a real title because interim titles are kind of bullshit right now. But if they're going to give you the exact same pay, if you get pay-per-view points with an interim belt, there's not really many good excuses for not taking the fight. What's the difference in fighting Jeremy Stephens and Max Holloway if you're getting compensated the same? You just don't like the interim title? If you're getting the same amount of money, it is what it is, man. And then, check this out. If you do fight Jeremy Stephens for the interim title, if that's what has to happen, whenever Max Holloway does get stripped, if that's what happens, you become the champion if you win. And now when you hear Jeremy Stephens say that, you know, his name's been in Brian Ortega's ear 3 separate times now, you start to wonder, is he just ducking the fade from Jeremy Stephens? Jeremy Stephens does lay dudes out, flatline, boom, out of there, sleep. You ain't coming back. You can't come back from a knockout. Jeremy Stephens is a guy, or Brian Ortega is a guy that comes back in his fights. A lot of the times he has to weather the storm. It's hard to weather the Jeremy Stephens storm. You might not be able to come back from that. So maybe he's not interested in that fight. You know, because for Brian Ortega to become champion, Lightning's likely going to have to strike twice. He fought Frankie Edgar. A lot of people felt like Lightning struck in that fight. Nobody expected him to knock out Frankie Edgar in the first round. Nobody. So Lightning sort of struck there. So now to beat Max Holloway, Lightning would have to strike again. Now you're telling me you might have to beat Jeremy Stephens and Max Holloway? Lightning definitely ain't striking 3 fucking times. Max Holloway or Brian Ortega is a very skilled fighter, but is he the best featherweight in the world? I'm not too sure of that. And if he was, if he was confident that he was, he would probably just fight Jeremy Stephens. Not only for the fans, for his fans, for the interim belt, just in case Max Holloway gets stripped. If you feel like you're going to beat Jeremy Stephens, it is what it is. Get in there and get that, you do your thug dizzle. But maybe he's not too confident in feeling like he can beat Jeremy Stephens. But hey, man, it is what it is. Jeremy Stephens definitely feels like Brian Ortega's ducking him. And whenever you hear that, you know, that new detail, that this is the 3rd time that this fight could have potentially happened, that's kind of interesting. I never heard that before that. And Jeremy Stephens isn't the type of dude to just come out here and fucking lie. He's already saying, I'm not trying to down talk the dude. I don't know shit about him. But what I do know is he's heard my name 3 times and we still haven't fought. So it is what it is, man. Let the full-time family know what you guys think in the comments. I'm actually rooting for Jeremy Stephens to get a title shot in the future. And this is even making me root for him that much more. He's ready to step up, but Brian Ortega's stepping back, as Jeremy Stephens said. And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit the bell right next to it so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And this is the hardest working MMA channel on YouTube. We provide daily updates, predictions, betting advice. We do songs. We do fantasy fights. We've interviewed Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, Bruce Lechemedio, and Felony Charles Bennett, all in just 1 year as an MMA channel. We're one of the fastest growing MMA channels on the net, but we're still small, so make sure you guys go check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo if you want to learn how you can become a full-time MMA black belt. And while you're there, you can see where this MMA channel started from, some of the goals we have for the channel, and even more cool videos just like this one if you enjoyed it. So thanks again to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button, and also if you're just lurking and this is your first time seeing a video, appreciate that as well. I'm out.
Da 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 da! It's the motherfucking DOWG!